Awesome. Hey, what's up, Aviator Land? How's everybody doing today?
Unbelievable.
What's up? What's up, Coach Will? I see you. I see you, Coach Will. Let's go, man. Hey, so we're gonna have an unbelievable training here today. You know, I was going over, kind of all these different things, all the different presentations that we have. And today, I'm really excited to kind of go over, how we're going to be able to build a solid business using every aspect of the business. See, a lot of people early on in their Primerica careers, they just look at using one of the licenses, and if all these licenses are available to us, we should definitely take advantage of them. We should definitely use them to our, we should definitely use them to our benefit. We had Paul Regard here in the office yesterday. He's the CEO and president of PFS Investments. And he mentioned that the majority of Primerica clients, right, they will even benefit from the life insurance policies, right? Because most people are going to live, right? We're banking that people are going to live, right? Life insurance is there just in case something happens. And the reality of it is most people are going to outlive their policies. And if we don't use every aspect of the licenses, every resource that we have, we're going to be leaving out a lot of opportunity along the way. And my hope and my mission here today is to kind of instill in you guys the importance of not only using the insurance license, which I think we got a really great grasp at. I mean, I think, this organization is one of the top organizations in the entire company when it comes to, in terms of life insurance premium on a monthly, yearly basis. But when it comes in terms of, investments, I think that we have a ton of room to improve on. And that's the goal for today. I want to kind of show you how important it is to use that license to build, use both of the licenses to build the life that you really want to have later on in life. And so before we get started, I wanted to do a little exercise with you to kind of prime your mindset to be ready to receive. Jackie has a Tesla. Whenever she goes to supercharge her car, if she types in the supercharger, right, there's a notification that pops up. Jake, you'll probably know this as well, but there's a notification that pops up. It says, we are preconditioning the battery to be ready to be charged, fast charge, right? So they're priming the battery before you even get there in preparation so that once it gets to the charging site, it's ready to receive, it's ready to go, it's ready to get to the next level. That's what I want to use today to kind of get your mindset right. And I want you guys to do an exercise here. I want you guys to allow yourself to dream, right? I don't know if you guys have ever done anything like this, but anytime I feel like, man, I'm at a period of stagnation, I always go back to this exercise to really understand, man, the life that you want, the life that I want, right? It's right around the corner. We just don't have access to it because we don't make it as clear as possible. And if you guys got something to write with, right, I think this is an incredible exercise. Let's go through some different things. Let's really allow ourselves to dream, and let's go through what our ideal lifestyle will look like, right? And I want to kind of write some different categories down with you guys. And I want you guys to put down like what it would cost on a yearly basis for this particular lifestyle, right? And so some categories, like for myself, right, I put, either rent or mortgage, right? How much was your ideal lifestyle? How much is that going to cost on a yearly basis? Okay. So like if you're in, is it $2,000 a month? You're going to take 2,000 times 12, right? That's 24,000. If it's 5,000 times 12, you guys get the point, 60,000. That's the number that we want to look for. Okay. If it's, for the senior veterans on the call, is the mortgage or the luxury condo that you're looking for, is it $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 on a monthly basis? This is the idea. We really want to, there's no bad number. This is a number that you could really go after. Okay. So what is that number on a yearly basis? For somebody like myself, right? For myself and Jackie, I put $130,000 a year. right? Why did I do 130,000? If we multiply that by 12 months or divide it by 12 months, about $11,000 a month to go towards a mortgage. Why do I want 11,000 to go toward a mortgage? So I can pay off the mortgage in 3 or 4 years. So it's not a 30-year mortgage. Okay, so I have it for 3 or 4 years. There it is right there. If I have it in 3 or 4 years, now that thing, I can sell it. I can, build value on it, rent it out, whatever the case is. I have dirt. I own dirt. Okay, so what's the mortgage? What's the rent going to look like for you? Okay, next one is sports cars. Or what kind of car? What is the ideal car that you want? How much is that going to cost on a yearly basis? I put a budget of 36,000 for the year. No. I put a budget of 36,000 for the year. Okay. That's about 1,500. If I have one car, that's a $3,000 a month car note. If it's a car for me and Jackie, that's $1,500 a month car note, right? So 36,000. Okay. Exotic vacations. What kind of vacations do you guys want? How much is that going to cost you on a yearly basis? I put 40,000, 10,000 a quarter, 10,000 a quarter. We run in 90-day spurts. We run business hard for 90 days. We take a vacation, an exotic vacation that costs 10,000 for the quarter, right? So we get a recharge, recommit, right? Extravagant meals. Extravagant meals. I did 26,000 for the year. 26,000 divided by 52 weeks. That's about $500 a week to go towards an extravagant meal for me and my wife. Okay. We do like dance, golf lessons. Like I have 2 daughters, right? They're in gymnastics. They're getting into golf. Right, that stuff costs money. That for me is $15,600 for the year. You divide that out by 52 weeks, that's about $300 a month. That goes towards lessons, towards gymnastics for my 2 daughters. Okay. Clothes, name brand clothes. What's the budget you got for clothes? Whether it's suits, whether it's luxury brand name stuff that you want to buy, put a budget for that on a yearly basis. I did 36,000 for the year as well. $3,000 a month. $3,000 a month. Right? Brent likes that. Yeah. $3,000 a month for luxury brand. And that's not just for me, it's for me and Jackie. Mostly it's for Jackie. Okay. This is real important if you have a house, if you have a wife, kids, or if you just literally, even if you're single, man, maid services. I got a maid service that comes to the house on a weekly basis. That's 26,000 for the year for maids. How many here wants to have an awesome Christmas? Berto, you want to have an awesome Christmas?
Absolutely.
Right? How much would your ideal Christmas cost you on a yearly basis? I put a budget of 20,000 for an awesome cash Christmas. Right? I hope if you guys are on Zoom that you guys are doing this exercise because it has a point. Okay? So 20,000 for lavish Christmases. I did 20,000 budget for lavish birthdays, 10,000 for each one of our birthdays, right? Which we're going on a trip in about a week. Was it about that amount? It was like 10 grand for the week. Bryn, it was about 10 grand. Right, Bryn's giggly, right? It's probably more, but it was about 10,000, right? Lavish birthdays, 20,000. What's that? Oh, that one goes under exotic vacations, right? Okay. Personal chef. You guys want a personal chef? Somebody to cook for you guys? My budget for the personal chef was $7,200 a year. You divide that out by, a weekly basis, 2 meals a week for Jackie and myself. That's about 480 meals for the entire year. That's about $15 a meal, right? With the personal chef. So you see the personal chef, I have them for the week, 5 meals a week for 4 weeks. And then I have the extravagant meals, that $500 a month budget, Right, $500 a week budget for the weekends, for Jackie and I to hang out on the weekends, have a good dinner on the weekends. Okay? Jackie and I are a big fan of concerts, shows, right? So 6,000 a year for shows, for concerts. Okay? 6,000 for that, it's about $500 per show per month for each one of us. I like to, I believe in tithing, giving to charity. Okay? How much would that be like worth for you on a yearly basis? And I hope you guys are jotting down these categories and then jotting down how much they're gonna cost you on a yearly basis, because I want to show you guys something that's pretty powerful here at the end, okay? Spa treatments, massages, right? Taking care of your body. About $200 a month. 100 for me, 100 for Jackie, times 52, or 100 for each one of us per week, right? It's 52 weeks. That's about 10,400 for the year. Right? I'm a member at a golf course. My golf membership is about 24,000 for the year. What kind of clubs you guys want to be associated with? What kind of network you guys want to be a part of? You know, some of the things, right? Your network determines your net worth. You know, a lot of these people that we meet at the golf memberships, at the social clubs, whatever the case is, even though it may cost a little bit to do that, the people that you get around, right, that you associate with, it starts to elevate your net worth. I really believe that. Okay. I did a random bills category, Ethan, random bills, right? Because you're going to have stuff that pops up. I need to get a new roof on the house. I need to get a fence, need to do some extra landscaping. So I did a random bills of 50,000 for the year. Okay. And then I have this other category, which is really nice. This is probably mostly for me, right? Is buy whatever I want. I did 100,000 for the year. 100,000, buy whatever I want. Okay? So if I want to give gifts to Jackie, if I want to do some special things for the girls, whatever the case is, I can buy whatever I want. I have a plan for that, and it's not stressing anybody else out because everything has a purpose. Okay? And so if you did that exercise, right, I want you to put in the chat, I want you to add all those categories up, and I want you to share on the chat how much your ideal dream lifestyle would cost you for a year, right? Tony, what's yours?
No.
Oh, okay, okay.
But no, is there an investment category?
You could do an investment. I mean, you could add that in there. It's your dream lifestyle. You could add that in there.
Oh, yeah. I say this much, that's what.
Yep.
You add all this up and then times it by 12.
Nope, you just add it up. It should already be in the annual. Mercado, right, 150,000 to have his dream lifestyle. 150,000, right? Anybody else got some things that they want to share? On the chat? 150K? I'll be transparent, I added all mine up right there. My dream lifestyle is 597,000 for the year. 720,000 for the year. 305,000 for the year. Right? Takia, 300,000. Janelle, 160,000 for the year. Guys, 450,000, Carl. That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing. 393,000 for Tony. 460,000 for Sweets, right? What I'm trying to point out to you guys is first and foremost, right? 437,000 for Joe, right? First and foremost is your dream lifestyle is a lot closer than what you really think it is. And the second thing I want to point out is that contrary to popular belief, most people think to have their ideal dream lifestyle is going to require millions of dollars a year. And it doesn't, though. it doesn't require millions of dollars a year to have the lifestyle that you want to have. But listen, you got to do these exercises every now and then to kind of snap you back into place to realize what's possible. And then, I know a couple of people had like some Ebony 380,000, right? That shit, I really want you to, I challenge you guys to, when you're doing this, don't give yourself a budget, like literally try to dream like what the ideal lifestyle would be like. And even if you look at the most extravagant possible lifestyle, you'll realize that it doesn't probably even require $1 million a year. Which is wild to me. Which is wild, y'all. For supposed to have 400,000, 500,000 for the year. If you were making $1 million a year, you still have 500,000 of discretionable income to do whatever the hell you want to do with it. Okay? $300,000 a year, man, that's awesome. You have your ideal lifestyle with $25,000 a month. Right? Brandon, how much money did you make last month? Brandon, you know. 32,000. Lewis, how much money did y'all make last month? 24,000. Right? It's right there, y'all. It's right there. Okay? So man, take advantage of that. Do that, with some time. Take advantage and do that exercise. And really kind of map out what that lifestyle is gonna be like for you. So you got some targets, right? I like to call them FU money targets. FU money targets. That regardless of whatever, you have an amount of money set aside to say F you to whoever. Boss, you can't tell me nothing. Person, you can't tell me nothing. I have money set aside, Ebony, that I can do whatever the heck I wanna do. Okay? That I can have the lifestyle I want to do with what I want, when I want, however long, with whomever long I want with this lifestyle. Okay? And so, man, challenge you guys to do that. Now, switching gears, y'all. Now that we have the mindset prime, right? Let's get into some training, right? I want to show you guys, man, I was working on this presentation and this thing is phenomenal, right? I want to show you guys something that's pretty cool, right? So this is my first time sharing this. So I want to kind of make sure that you guys follow along with me. This is something that's pretty powerful, right? So, if we're here to build a company, okay, we're here to build a company within a company. And for most Primericans, we're taught that we can build a business that we can have the lifestyle that we want on recruiting and building, right? That is true. That is true, right? But if you also implement, right, the impact of what the securities license can bring to the table, man, I'm telling you, you guys can absolutely build not only a business that creates override income, but it's also going to provide residual income through the assets under management. Residual income, right, is that income that whether you show up to work or not, it comes in and it keeps flowing. Now, if you combine the two, it's going to give you the highest possible value of ownership in your business. Okay, and that's what the company is going to rate, like the value of your business. Does your business provide an income or does it provide an asset? An income is you have to be directly tied to it, you have to be directly involved with it to create money. An asset, it creates money whether you are there or not. Okay? And I think for most people in the business, they confuse, man, I want to be involved with everything. I want to be doing everything at all times. The only way for me to make money in the business is I have to be directly involved with everything. For a short period of time, yes, that is true, but it should not be the case for your entire career in Primerica. Okay? And we have to recruit and build a great organization implementing the strategies that we have in place. So listen, why did you join Primerica? Obviously, it's to become financially independent, to live off the income of your own personal assets, right? To build business income, investment income. Now, we're going to talk really with the securities aspect of the business because I feel like we have the recruiting in the business and the premium built down, okay? Let me show you guys, right? This is how the family, Toga, on a monthly basis, whether we show up to work or not, the family brings in every single month over $50,000 a month, every single month with the securities license. Okay? And in our business, we get paid primarily in 4 different ways in securities. Did you guys know that? All right, did you know we get paid 4 different ways with securities? All right, Nelson, your securities, do you know we get paid 4 different ways? Okay, so with the 4 different ways that we get paid, the first way is we get paid compensation on lump sums. We get paid through compensation on PACs, which is pre-authorized checking, which is a monthly bank draft to the mutual fund. That's like every single month, somebody wants to contribute $50, $100, $250 a month. The third is through trail fees, which are 12B1s. I'll explain that in a little bit. And then the fourth way is advisory fees, which is the managed account license. Okay, so there's 4 different ways that we get paid on securities. Let's talk about the first way, compensation on lump sums. This is really powerful, right? Your commission, you get paid based on this. They're gonna take the investment amount, they're gonna multiply it by the broker-dealer reallowance, and then they multiply that times your percentage, whatever level you're at. Okay? So Adrian, for example, if you and these are the dealer reallowances, if you had somebody that invested an amount of anywhere between 0 to 50,000 in a mutual fund, this is mutual funds, and this is annuities. Okay. This is annuities. This is the broker dealer reallowance. So if it's 0 to 50,000, if you invested that in a mutual fund, it's a 5%, and an annuity is 5% as well. If you did 50,000, if the person invested over 50,000, they hit a milestone, so they get they hit a discount, right? Where it's instead of 5%, now it's 4% if they did it in the mutual fund. The annuity stays the same all the way through. It doesn't matter what amount it is. Okay. 100,000, 250,000, as the lump sum grows, if you invest in a mutual fund, the dealer reallowance it goes down because it's giving them a discount, break point. Okay, so this is an example of somebody that invests 100,000. Okay, we know, believe it or not, y'all, we know a lot of people, okay, out there that have figures, Jaden, that have over 100,000 in an old 401k and a traditional IRA that need to get these things rolled over. If you found somebody that had $100,000 and they rolled it over into a mutual fund, right? Obviously, the broker dealer reallowance is a 3%. That's 3,000. Okay, and then Primerica Financial Services Investments gets paid from the fund company, and if they did in a variable annuity, it's a 5%, so it's 5,000. You guys following me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what happens is once this money gets paid to PFS Investments, then PFS Investments pays everybody, all the writing reps and the uplines a percentage of that amount based on their level. For example, $100,000 investment, if they put in a mutual fund, that's a $3,000 reallowance, okay? And if this person was a rep that wrote it, okay, if it was a rep that wrote it, they would get paid $900. If it was a district that wrote it, they would get paid $1,050. If they were a regional, they would get paid $1,275 for helping somebody roll over or invest $100,000. If they're a regional vice president, that's $1,860.
Jay, what does rollover mean?
Rollover is if somebody had a 401k with the company, they're no longer with the company, that's an employee sponsored plan. They're no longer with the company, they need to move that money somewhere because it's their money. We would roll that money over into an individual account, individual retirement account. Typically a traditional IRA. We're rolling it from one place to another. If somebody had a traditional IRA and they moved the money to another traditional IRA, what is that called for the securities license fee?
Hey, Nelson.
It's called a transfer of assets. A transfer of assets. Good job. Okay, very good. Now, here's the cool thing about in the variable annuities, that same 100,000, because it's the 5-point broker dealer reallowance, Primerica gets paid 5,000, and from that 5,000, they paid the commission to the rep that wrote it. So if they had a rep that wrote it, that rep would make 1,500. Okay, if a district wrote it, they would get paid 1,750. And if a regional vice president wrote it, they would get paid over $3,000 for helping somebody move their money to somewhere else. Okay, so that's how the compensation on lump sums work. Any questions on this so far? We're all good? Okay, very good. Now, the second way we get paid is compensation on PACs, pre-authorized checking plans. Compensation on PACs work the same as compensation on lump sums, except what's the difference? What's the exception? What's that? You get paid every month. See, with the lump sums, it's one time. With the PACs, it's every single month that they invest, you get paid. Okay? So if you help somebody roll their money over, Ethan, they had a Roth IRA with another custodian. You help them roll or transfer that money into a Roth IRA with us, and then they said, I want to max it out at $500 a month. You would not only get paid on the lump sum money that you rolled over, but every single month you would get paid a percentage of that $500 that they invest. It's just powerful. Okay? Your commission is the investment amount times the broker-dealer reallowance times the promotion level. Okay? So for example, on this right here, this is an example of somebody investing $250 a month. I'm going to teach you guys how people in the business, okay, like low-key people that probably you've never heard of in the business, okay? That low-key people in the business, and you probably never heard of them, are establishing serious net worth by these different ways of getting compensated. Okay, so if a person invested $250 a month at a 5%, right? That's $12.50. That's what Primerica Financial Service Investments get paid. And then from that $12.50, okay, Primerica pays the rep and all the uplines a portion of that amount based on the level. Every single month. Every single month. So Ethan, if you had somebody that you started with that invests $250 a month, Primerica gets paid $12.50. If you as a regional did that, you would get compensated $5.31 for every person that invests $250. See, most people look at this and they say, Jaden, $5.31. What's so sexy about that? Right? It may not seem like a lot right now if you do just one. But Adrian, what if you did one a week, two a week, or even one a day? Then you're really starting to create and develop a business with residual income every single month. Like, look, we have the TOGA code, all right? The Ortiz generations code, okay? Inside of that code, we have AYCV9, which was our code when we first started, and we have two JEVU5, which is Eric and Bryn's code, okay? We have not written business on those two codes for the last 3 years. Probably been 3 or 4 years since we wrote any kind of business on there. Every single month, Primerica cuts out a check to AYCV9 and JEVU5 for about $3,000 to $4,000 a month. And we have not written any piece of business on those codes in the last 3 years, y'all. Because of all the people that started $50 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month, $250 a month, $500 a month, $1,000 a month in the beginning of our careers, y'all. And so it may not seem exciting, like I said, already right off the bat in the beginning, but if you consistently do that over time, in a short period of time, man, that's $50,000 a year that the family gets compensated every single year for business that we did over 3 years ago. Over 3 years ago. Okay? So, and that's every single month, okay? Now, Monthly compensation on setting up 2 PACs a week. Okay, if you're a district, after 1 year, if you have somebody that you set up $250 a month every single week, after a year as a district, you have residual income of $500 a month coming in. For most people, that's a car payment, that's rent. There's a statistic out there that most marriages can be saved with an extra $500 budget, $500 extra in their budget. That's a number one cause of divorces nowadays. It's not infidelity, it's not lust, it's lack of money, financial problems. And if somebody could do something like this, and after a year, have $500 a month coming in, after 3 years, that's $1,300. After 5 years, that's 22. That's almost $24,000 a year, Ethan. Just helping somebody do $250 a month. And it's brilliant. You don't have to convince people to save for themselves. You just got to show them how to do it, y'all. Okay? If you're a regional, after 1 year, that's $500. After 3 years, $1,600. After 5 years, that's $2,700 a month. And as a regional vice president, listen, y'all regional vice presidents, man, I know our organization, the regional vice presidents across the board have done an incredible job at this, but I want to help you internalize this a little bit more, that if after a year, that's an extra almost $1,000 extra in your budget just from helping people start saving for retirement. After 3 years, that's about $24,000 a year. After 5 years, that's $50,000 a year for helping people do something like that, y'all. Most people don't have $100,000 laying around, Joshua, but they got 250 that they can save, right? Okay, and so that's number 2. And then compensation on trails. Compensation on trails, there's the mutual fund companies and the annuity companies pay a small percentage to PFS based on the assets under management and the money that is already sitting in these accounts. Trails are now paid at all levels. Trails are now paid at all levels. Right? Before it wasn't the case. Now, at all levels, you get fully licensed across the board. You're getting paid trails as a rep, as a senior rep, as a district at all levels. Okay? Here's an example of this. So we look at the account value, right? At 25%, that's the amount that PFS Investments gets paid every year based on the assets under management. And then PFS pays the writing rep and all uplines a portion of that amount. Okay? Now, here's an example of $1 million of assets under management. $1 million of assets under management at a 25%, that's $2,500 that Primerica gets paid every year, every quarter or every year, about $625 a quarter from the investment company. And from that, then they pay all the writing reps, okay? Every quarter. So here's an example of that. $1 million of assets under management. If you have people investing every single month, right? You help somebody do a $100,000 rollover, and then you help them contribute on a monthly basis, and you do that a couple of times consistently, you're going to very quickly establish a book of business with over $1 million in it.
Right.
Okay? Very, very quickly. It doesn't take a long time to be able to establish a book of business of 7 figures in Primerica, y'all. People have this money laying around in banks, Hispanics, right? Like I know I got family members that have this under the mattress, okay? They have money laying around to be invested. They just don't know how to do it. And they're very hesitant because they don't want to make mistakes. Okay? So $1 million, Primerica gets paid $625 every quarter. And if you're a regional leader, right? On a quarterly basis, that's $238, that's $79 a month equivalent. Now, again, that may not seem like a lot, but what if you have 2 million or 10 million or even 100 million? Okay? And that's very, Eric, on JEDU 5, how much, do you recall how much assets under management you have in there?
13 million.
13 million. Hasn't written a piece of business in over 3 years, has $13 million in that book of business. Right? We have about 10 in AYCB 9. On the toga code, there's 75 million of assets under management. And in the entire hierarchy, we have over 116 million of assets under management that we manage. Okay, but that wasn't like, Juan, we found somebody that had 100 million right off the bat. If you look at it, it was 100,000 here, 25,000 here, a bunch of PACs on a monthly basis over time. Okay, Yusela? And so then you're gonna have a business that pays you residual income every single month, every single quarter, every single year. That's already been done. Okay, now, and if you look at it, if we double the trails, okay, using the rule of 72, this money is gonna compound, right? In 6 years, 7 years, some cases it compounds even faster, but every time a client's money doubles, the rep trails double as well. And if you got a 9% rate of return, their money's gonna double every 8 years. So that means that if the rep trails would double every 8 years, just by keeping their existing clients happy and only adding enough investments to make up for any withdrawals, let's look at an example of somebody that's 36 years old that has been with Primerica for 13 years. Why did I do this? Because most of you guys here are in your 20s, and if you do this in 13 years, you'll be less than 36 years old. So you guys see the significance and the impact that you guys have. And I'm so grateful for our parents that they allowed us to see this opportunity when we were y'all's age. That's why we didn't take this for granted. That's why we don't take this like it's something that we do for fun. We really understood this very early on in our careers, and we took advantage of that, and we worked consistently with discipline and determination throughout the years. And that's what allowed us to have the business that we have right now. What I'm trying to get to is you also have that same opportunity as well, because most of y'all are the same age as we were when we first started. Okay? And at 36 years old, if they do that, right? If they do that every year for 13 years, by the time they're 36 years old, they have a portfolio. There you go, Carl, 34. Dang. Carl, watch this. If you were 36, okay, and you had assets under management of $35 million every single month, whether showing up to work or not, you're getting paid $4,200 every single month just on this book of business. Not including your base shop premium, not including your bonuses, not including any other type of income business that you're gonna bring in, just based on this right here. And if it compounds in 8 years, now instead of 35 million, you're not adding anything into it, it just compounds. At 44 years old, you have $70 million of assets under management. Now you have almost $100,000 a year residual income, whether you show up to work or not. And it doesn't stop there, y'all. At 52, now you have 150 million or 140 million. That's $16,000 a month just on investments. Just on your book of business. At 60, that's 280 million. That's $33,000 a month. Are there people in Primerica that get paid this? Yes. If they get paid at Berto, why not you?
Facts.
At 68, now you have a $500 million portfolio. Billion. That's 66,000 a month just on your book of business. It's a powerful thing, y'all. Powerful thing. And let's say even if you retire, see the cool thing about this, y'all, this is did it money. I did it. I don't have to continue to do it. I did it already. And even if at 68, you're not doing Primerica anymore, it's like being in the field. You're still in Primerica, but you're not in the field like actively looking for clients. And 8 years later, Ari, that's $1 billion portfolio. And now you're getting paid $120,000 a month at 70 plus years old. And you have generational wealth to pass along to your family. Because guess what? That book of business is yours. It's not Primerica's, it's yours. You guys understand the impact that we have here, like the opportunity that we have here? We have to stop playing around with this securities lifestyle. I know a lot of people are going after this thing, but listen, y'all, we have to get serious. Because I promise you, you remember these conversations one of two ways. One is, damn, I'm so glad that I listened to the training that we got and I took advantage of it because look at the book of business that we have. Or you're gonna look back on it and say, damn, I should have taken advantage of it. I don't know which conversation it is, but I know you're gonna have one of those kind of thoughts and those conversations, though. Okay? And then the fourth way is compensation on management accounts, on managed accounts. And that is where the managed account, companies pay a small percentage to Primerica Financial Service Investments based on the assets under management, and that's money that's already sitting in the accounts. Okay? So compensation on managed accounts, that's the account value times 1.2%, that's usually the maximum. That's the advisor fee is what they call it, being an investment advisor representative. And that's the amount that Primerica Investments gets paid every year. And the percentages may vary because that's up to the advisor. Okay? So here's an example of this. This is gonna blow you away, y'all. Okay? You can have an unbelievable lifestyle just with lump sums and PACs. When you go into trails, into managed accounts, then it just starts to blow you away. Okay? Because watch this. And examples of $1 million of assets under management in the managed accounts. Okay? Before, if it wasn't managed accounts, it was 0.25. Now it's 1.2, which is 12,000 a year. And then Primerica pays that to the representatives and all uplines based on that percentage. So if we look at every month, we look at this, if you have a managed account representative that has $1 million of assets under management at a $1,000 broker dealer reallowance every month, if you're a regional leader, that's $420. Oh, and I didn't even talk about the overrides, right? So Ari, let's say you're a regional vice president, but you have DeMarco, who's your regional, right? And DeMarco writes this book of business. He gets paid $420, but you as the vice president, you get paid the difference. Because it's your business as well, right? And the equivalent of that is $7,400 for the year if you're a vice president, $5,000 if you're a regional leader. Okay? And if you look at this, y'all, I love this slide right here because investments is a long-term play. It's a long-term play, but it's a consistent long-term play over time. You may have a couple of years where you have a couple of clients that you run into that they all work together, Brian, that they retired and they're all buddies and one of them loves you and you did a rollover with them. It was $500,000 or $1 million. And he said, man, you need to talk to all my buddies and all my buddies will trust me. And now from one person that you rolled over $1 million, now you get 5 or 6 of his buddies that also need to do the same things. You have those spikes in the lump sums that you invested that comes into your business. Make sense? Okay, so $1 million yearly income or monthly income, let's go to that, is about $646. If it's 5 million, it's about $3,200. 10 million, it's about $6,400 a month. 20 million, 12,000, right? If you look at that, y'all, over time, it starts to compound in a really big way. Right now, like I said, in the base shop, which is what it's currently to us, we have close to this number in assets under management. Which, no surprise, every single month, this is kind of what the company pays us on a monthly basis, whether we show up to work or not. Over time. Before Zoom, by the way, which was most of the assets came in before Zoom. Now that we got Zoom, it's like lights out. Okay. And then if you look at the same thing, if you have assets in a managed account, 50 million, that's about $20,000 a month in a managed account. It compounds. Now it's 100 million. Now it's $40,000 a month. Now it compounds 52 to $200 million. Now it's $80,000 a month. That's $1 million of income a year for having a book of business that has $200 million in your investment accounts. Listen, when I started, y'all, and I saw this for the first time, I don't know about y'all, but I got fired up about this, man. Because most jobs out there are not even going to even talk to you remotely about having the opportunity to even think about having a book of business that can have something like this for y'all. You guys understand, we're not talking about this is the book of business that's for our family. I'm trying to get you guys to understand that you're working towards building this book of business for you and your family. Okay? And 60 years old, you have $400 million, 160, yes, sir, you need your 65 for this, yep. $160,000 a month. 68, it's 800 million, $320,000 on a monthly basis with that managed account. Okay? And then if it compounds again at 70 something years old, right? At 76 years old, right? 8 years later, you have over $1 billion of assets under management, and that's over $600,000 a month, y'all. That gets paid to your family. And that's just on the investment business. That's crazy, Ethan. That's crazy, Louis. That's just on the investment business, bro. Most people in this office, I really believe they're gonna make over $1 million just on the life insurance business. But if you add that as well, it becomes crazy, y'all. It becomes absolutely crazy. But it allows you to realize that it's okay to build a securities business, y'all. Because a 10 by 10 regional vice president on average will make about $25,000 a year nowadays, okay? 20 by 20 is about 50,000, 30 by 30 is about $75,000 a year, okay? And if you look at this right here, if you look at this right here, $75,000 a year, okay, what's that divided by 12 months? 75,000, about 6,000 and some change?
75,000.
75,000 by 12 months.
6,250.
6,250, right? What that means is I was right. For every 10 million of assets under management, personal assets under management is the equivalent of you having a $30,000 hierarchy. The same thing. Most of us do this in our base shops already. If you add that to it, now you're just doubling and compounding the opportunities that we have now. Okay? And so, listen, I know that was, I don't know if that was too technical for you guys. Okay? I don't know if that was too technical for you guys, but I got real excited about that because we understood the possibilities of what it could be in this business, y'all. But we have to take advantage of all these licenses. So I'd encourage y'all, okay, for those of you that have your securities licenses, amazing, fantastic. Continue to rock and roll with it. Learn your business. Don't neglect the recruiting and life insurance premium aspect of the business, but add this to it. I'm not saying do one or the other. I'm saying do both, okay? I'm saying do both, be well-rounded, be balanced, and really take advantage of that, y'all, okay? And so that's all I got for you here today. Y'all know who we are. We are.